Hey, remember that one time Ash fought against an evil purple Rayquaza? Honestly, I don't, but maybe it's worth a good look. So this all happens in episode 43 of the Pokémon Diamond and Pearl anime series, with the English title Malice in Wonderland. Ah yes, the puns and references never end. So the episode begins as we follow Ash, Brock, and Dawn on their way to Hearthome City. And first off, the atmosphere set up by the visuals and music is actually really great. This beginning actually feels like what I think a spooky Pokemon episode should feel like. Another little stop on their journey that happens to take a dark turn. So to get out of the rain, the group finds shelter past an old gate, and from there they're squarely in the territory of Mismagius. They don't know this at first, but like, you can't fool me. I saw it right there. The fog then dissipates and they see a Pokemon Center. I know this is meant to be very weird looking and an immediate hint that something is wrong, but watching this nowadays, that just looks like Bal and Leia from Sword and Shield. But if that wasn't already enough to tip you off, the Nurse Joy inside is actually totally fine with Brock's romantic advances, and so is Officer Jenny. Another great thing about this episode is that as soon as the good stuff starts happening, there's still a creepy mood about the air. Joanna and Professor Oak also show up to invite Dawn and Ash to the contest and Pokemon League Finals playoffs respectively. Though it's funny how nobody questions anything at any point during this obvious dream, because the very first thing they see when they enter the stadium is Rayquaza fighting against Groudon. I guess Kyogre wasn't invited, but things just continue escalating and escalating to the point of absolute absurdity. But then it all breaks as we get this nightmare fuel, because in the real world, Croagunk has woken up Brock, only for him to be put back to sleep, but this time armed with knowledge that he can use to warn Ash and Dawn. And as we reach the climax of the episode, the subpar animation becomes more noticeable. I'd been watching the rest of the Diamond and Pearl anime up until this point, and nothing else really looked as plain as this episode so far. But I guess that's because it isn't really an important episode in the grand scheme of things. No actual progress is made for any character, and no important captures or evolutions occur. But that's totally fine, because this episode was just aiming to be a creepy story showing off one of the new ghost Pokemon. Speaking of which, now that the jig is up, Mismagius just decides to fuse with Rayquaza, making it purple with feathery accents. This does genuinely look cool. I think shiny Rayquaza is so beloved because the black makes it look so sleek and is a great contrast to its base form. And so, for the same reason, purple Rayquaza also looks really cool. The logistics of this anime-exclusive Pokemon form don't really need to be explained. This is an illusionary dream world created by Mismagius, so whatever it says goes. It doesn't really do anything extremely weird or out of the ordinary, it's basically just a Rayquaza with a new coat of paint. But it all makes sense because Mismagius' original Pokédex entries state that its cries can cause hallucinations and sometimes bring happiness. So combining those into the ability of being able to create enticing dreams to trap people is a great idea. Someday I'll give Mismagius a full deep dive video, but for now I think it had a pretty decent showing for its first anime appearance. Though it was mostly behind the scenes, only now becoming a big threat during the final battle of the episode. But because this is a dream world, Pikachu, Piplup, and Croagunk just grow to kaiju size and beat up Rayquaza. This was the original Dynamax. They all leave after making up with Mismagius, who apparently just wanted to have some fun. Overall, it's a fun little episode that I happened to see during my watch of the Diamond and Pearl anime, and I figured it would be a fun thing to bring up. I did think it was pretty funny just seeing how all the characters reacted to meeting their ideal fates. Team Rocket starts off by just getting some free food, which I can totally relate to, and then they just go off into their own mini adventures. While the beginning of the episode did a great job to set up some spooky atmosphere, it can kind of feel a little disappointing to see it just fade away into the brighter, unsettling illusion, but that's what it was going for in the moment. I would highly recommend this episode for a few laughs and definitely to gather some out-of-context screenshots to send your friends. This is far from the weirdest spooky Pokemon episode, but one for the books, no doubt. And so that has been the mini mystery of Purple Rayquaza. Thank you to all of my channel members who continue to support and make these videos possible, especially the great Gators Jackson, Justin R, Mr. Pig Puncher, Phantom Pyro, and Quago. If you would like to get a shout out here as well as access to emotes to use in comments and live streams, you can become a channel member as well today. Anyway, this has been GatorEX, and I'll catch you all later.
From deep within the mind of R.L. Stine comes a movie, the scary kind, The Haunting Hour. Don't think about it. Movie premiere, Friday night at 7, only on Cartoon Network.
What a thrill! I've been looking forward to the day when I'd meet you.